Craving some Haitian food for a good minute or whatever, and driving 23 miles one way just to get some food was not sitting well with me anymore. So I went ahead and I was like, all right, I need to find someplace closer. I don't care where, it just needs to be a little bit closer to me because 23 miles is not cool. So I was at work and I asked another co-worker, she happens to be Haitian. I was like, well, do you know any Haitian, restaurants or whatever around here? And she gave me one which was relatively close. It had to be like under like 7 miles away from me. So I was like, all right. So I went over there and got some food and it was really, really good. Now, the thing is, for anyone who knows Homestead, you know that it's a growing city and there are still some places where it's nothing but grass, no lighting. There are farmlands, like they have the redlands with your crops and your farm animals and things like that. And even in some of the neighborhoods, even though they've been developed and they've been there for a while, the lighting is still not the best. So this happens to be one of the areas where the lighting was not the best. Even to find the place, the lighting was really, really poor. I passed by at least 3 or 4 times because I absolutely did not see it. The parking lot was dark. The light coming through the building, the store, whatever itself, the restaurant, wasn't even bright enough for me to have even noticed it. You know what I mean? So I ended up actually having to call the restaurant, and they gave me directions, but they also let me know that it was exactly next to this building. And honestly, I passed by there, like I said, 3 or 4 times, and I never really noticed it until that person said you were right next to it. And that's when I noticed that little streak of light coming out. So the street that I was driving on was decent lighting or whatever like that. But on my way back, there was a detour. All of a sudden, when I was driving up, I did notice that they were putting up the blockades because they were having some sort of event or whatever, but I didn't think they were completely gonna block that street that I just came down like maybe 10-15 minutes ago. So they blocked it, and they had us going through some little neighborhood side street, dark alley type of thing. As far as for me, it's not really a street anymore, it's more like a dark alley because the lighting was really, really poor. So, mind you, I'm the kind of person, I drive on main streets where there's really good lighting. The only time I would go into a side street would be if I know exactly where I'm going, especially at that time of night. It had to be like 8 o'clock, which with daylight saving would be more like 9 o'clock, so it was pretty dark. And I was like, okay, well, I need to find my way, and I was lost. I had never really driven around in this neighborhood before. Like I said, I drive on main streets, so I was extremely, extremely lost. Every turn that I made took me into a place that was just as dark, and I really couldn't tell the directions. And with them, I'm used to like north, south, east, west. Over here was like southeast, one street, this. It was just strange, very strange. I just felt very, very uncomfortable. And I stopped at a stop sign. There was a car that had just turned in front of me. I was tempted to follow that car, but I wasn't sure where that car was going, and I did not want to follow that car for it to take me into a place that I was even more lost or further and further away from my house. So, because I could already feel that the way that I was going, I was inching myself further and further away from my house, and I wasn't exactly sure how to get back on some kind of something that resembled something close to a main street so I can find my way back home. So I'm lost. I'm at a stop sign. It's dark. The nearest light has to be like maybe 15 feet away. And all of a sudden there's like this shadow just passed by through the little bit of light that was coming from 15 feet away. So me being paranoid and being very, very uncomfortable about the situation that I'm in, I clicked to, double check and make sure that my doors are locked. And it just crossed through my mind. I was like, wow, that person was pretty close. They probably heard me locking my doors, and they might have felt a little bit offended by it. And I had also spoken to someone after the situation. They were like, well, that's kind of like a racist thing to do. And I was like, well, it's not really racist as far as that I was thinking. It may come off as a little racist, but that was not the way that I was approaching the situation. In that particular area, there's mostly Haitians and Mexicans. Now, I find it hard for me to be racist against my own people, but I'm not racist against Mexicans. I'm really just not racist against anybody, to be serious. The whole reason of me locking my door, my car door, as soon as I start the car, it automatically locks all the doors. But I saw it was more like double checking to make sure that it was locked. It was more to give myself some kind of sense of security, because to be honest, the neighborhood is very, very dark. I don't know what the neighborhood looks like during the day. I don't know if it's a good neighborhood, a poor neighborhood, a rich neighborhood, if there's, crime, or, if there's a lot of crime, or if there's a low probability of crime. I don't know anything about that neighborhood. So it's automatically an unfamiliar place to me. And then on top of that, like, the person just like passed by. I didn't even hear the person. I didn't see the person. All I saw was a shadowy figure. So of course, now I'm scared, and I'm going to double check and lock my door. Like, it has nothing to do with, honestly, it was dark. I couldn't even tell what color skin tone or what the person was to begin with. So I find it hard to be racist against a dark, shadowy figure that I seen that made me paranoid or whatever. And also, it really doesn't matter to me what kind of, what kind of people live in the particular neighborhood. If, for me, I find it to be a questionable neighborhood, meaning that there's a very, very high rate of crime there, and I'm driving through there, and I'm thinking, I don't want to get robbed, I don't want to get carjacked, I don't want anything bad to happen to me, especially if my daughter is in the back seat. So I'm paranoid now. I want to give myself some sense of security to know that my door is locked, so that if anybody were to come up and try to do whatever, I can just easily step on the gas and dip. You know what I'm saying? Instead of my door being unlocked and someone just, click, click, and opening my door and getting in my car or whatever like that. I mean, the chances are still there regardless of what neighborhood you go through. But if it's an area that's known to be very prone to a lot of crime, I mean, I just can't see myself going through that neighborhood and not locking my door, or at least not checking to make sure that my door is locked before I, drive through the neighborhood. And it doesn't matter if it's a white neighborhood, if it's a Spanish neighborhood, if it's a black neighborhood, a Mexican neighborhood, an Asian neighborhood. I don't care what neighborhood it is. If it's questionable to me, I am double checking that my doors are locked, period. So I just felt like I was a little upset because it was just taken in. The person just took it, and they were like, well, that's just racist. And I was like, well, then I'm racist against every single person, because regardless of what neighborhood it is, my door is always locked, regardless. But when it comes to a neighborhood that's prone to a lot of crime, I double check to make sure that it's locked. Even though I know it's locked, I just double check for that extra sense of security to know that my door is locked. Period. So you guys let me know if you thought that that was in any way racist or maybe wrong. I mean, I am sorry if that person might have took me locking the door in the wrong direction and was offended, but it was not intended to come off that way. I was just really, really uncomfortable or whatever. So I wanted to make myself a little bit more comfortable by, giving myself some extra sense of security. So you let me know if, do you guys ever really particularly double check if your doors are locked in a particular neighborhood, or does it not matter? Are you the kind of person who just leaves your door unlocked regardless? Just give me your opinion about the whole situation and what you do or what you don't do.